This story is about a chariot of fire. In the 1,700 years of the Xerxes Empire's glorious history, only two duchies have managed to become famous. The Honorable Park family, and a major player in the financial services industry, the Serpente family. Although the Serpente family did not boast a large family pedigree, they owned the largest bank in the world, the Python Bank. And the Park family, who played an important role in the establishment of the empire, was the family of the novel's protagonist, Adriana. She was the only daughter and favorite of the Park family, but after her mother's death, a stepmother and stepbrother came into the family. On top of all the troubles, the plague took her father from her as well. But despite all the grief and sorrow, Adriana never stopped being kind and treated others with warmth. The girl devoted herself to charity in the capital of the empire, where at that time there was a plague epidemic. It was there that she met the Crown Prince. The beautiful Crown Prince was the main character in this novel. Afterwards, the two main characters fought the attacks of others, overcame difficulties and hardships, and in the end, as in any fairy tale, lived happily ever after. But as in any beautiful fairy tale, this one also had its villains. They were two brothers from the Serpente family who lived abroad for 2 years to escape the plague. And the woman who turned the entire empire into chaos is Sasha Sanchez. As in all fairy tales, the villains meet a horrible death. But what if someone knew their story, about the circumstances in which they found themselves? 1720, the estate of the Serpente family. The heavens were cruel. First they took her imperial majesty, and now their grace the Duke and Duchess. Only 2 young gentlemen and a young lady remain. The girl felt very sorry for them. The Great Plague had taken the Duke and Duchess. They were such good people. This young lady must also be in great shock. Not so long ago she lost her mother to the plague, and now the people she admired. The girl apologized to their lordships for failing to protect them. Her dear mother worked as a nanny for the Serpente family. They were simple peasants, but the Duke and Duchess of Serpente treated them very warmly, and the girl thought she lived quite a happy life. Until she started having strange memories. The girl realized that she was not from this world. A girl died after being stuck in the lift of an old house on a cold winter night. She was a round orphan with no relatives at all. Her memories came back to the girl just as the Great Plague took her mother. All these years she had been living in the world without realizing it. It seemed to her that her whole life was a deception. She didn't even have time to grieve for her mother. Fate was too cruel to give her time. The girl promised their lordships that she would protect their children. The girl was very surprised when she woke up. She didn't realize where she was. This was not her room. Looking at the girl sleeping next to her, she realized that Estelle had fallen asleep with her last night. Estelle was only 12 years old. Waking up, the girl asked Sasha how long she had been in her bed. Deciding that the girl wasn't fully awake yet, Sasha explained to Estelle that she was the one who had come to the girl's house and fallen asleep. The boys realized it was Sasha and Estelle. Their voices came from that room. Opening the door, the boy announced that he didn't know the two of them were here too. Sasha was surprised at the appearance of the brothers, Letias and Benyas. She didn't understand what was going on here. Letias, who was only 15, asked Sasha if they had brought them to this dark and strange castle of the Demon King. Benya, he was 14, said that his older brother said terrible things. Frankly, he thought Letias's intelligence was overrated. Letias admitted that they had woken up and found themselves in a room they had never seen before. Anyone would have thought it was a prank. Sasha realized that if Letias and Benya didn't know where they were, then neither of them knew how they got here. The boy decided to start by finding out if their estate had a room like this one. His brother remarked that Letias was so stupid. He's the firstborn. He should know such things. Letias noted that his brother had no idea where they were either. He confessed that he had never seen the place on their estate before. Benya assured him that if he didn't know, his brother certainly had to know. Sasha admitted that she had. She hadn't seen anything like this place at Serpente Manor. Sasha remembered how they had buried the Duke and Duchess yesterday. Letias remarked that that was it. The game was over. Sasha didn't understand what game they were talking about. Letias thought that the girl and the servants were playing a trick on them. He had figured out their cunning plan. Letias was sure they were capable of such a thing. Sasha decided that the servants would be crazy to play such a trick on the children of an honorable family of nobles. Pulling Sasha by the sleeve of her shirt, Estelle admitted that it was stuffy in here. The girl smiled awkwardly, admitting that she felt the same way. Sasha was sure that Estelle would never think that she was playing a trick on them. The girl repeated that she didn't like it here. Sasha once again assured her that it wasn't her. Benya said that they had come from downstairs and had looked around on the way up. Sasha decided that there must be an exit down there. Latias assured that there was no way out. They checked everywhere while the girls slept. There was a bathroom just down the corridor and a dining room at the end. Sasha was sure that Latias must have missed something. The boy immediately started to prove that there was nothing else there. Sasha offered to go and check everything out again, and so the group all headed down the large spiral staircase together. Sasha realized that Latias was right. She didn't see a single door here, but the girl thought that there must be at least one door here. Suddenly, there was a strange sound that made the girls scream in fright. The boys burst into laughter. Sasha didn't understand why they were laughing. Benya called the girls stupid and replied that they were laughing because it was funny. He noted that the girls squealed like piglets. Sasha was about to answer the guys when she suddenly saw a large mirror near the wall. She hadn't thought of it. Sasha wondered where the mirror had come from. It was so big and so tall, like for an adult. The girl realized that, for some reason, the mirror gave her a strange feeling. One of the brothers asked Sasha if she was all right. She replied absent-mindedly that she was fine. The boy surmised that they had been put here because of the plague, like a temporary shelter. Latias surmised that they had been moved here while they slept so they wouldn't be so scared. Sasha asked what exactly his relatives had told him yesterday. The boy replied that they had suggested they stay in Fezia for a while, because of the conditions in the capital. They said they couldn't afford to lose their brothers after what had happened to their parents. Sasha noted that it was just like a novel, but there was something strange. The children of the Serpente family were supposed to go to Fezia to study immediately after the funeral of the Duke and Duchess. She didn't understand why they were here now, since they were supposed to go abroad. The girl tried to see if she remembered everything correctly. Were there any references in the novel other than they studied abroad for 2 years that described the life they actually lived? Sasha asked if they had said anything else. Latias didn't understand what she meant at first, but then he remembered that he had also told them that the girl had to go to Fefzia with them. He was sure they understood and assured them that Sasha could take it easy. Latias assured the girl that without her they would not be able to cope with that crybaby Estelle. The girl immediately clung fearfully to her brother. She confessed to Sasha that she heard some strange sounds. Everyone immediately turned at the rustle. Sasha wondered who it could be. Could it be one of the men who had brought them here? The door behind the mirror opened. A man's voice asked the children if they were here. Everyone was surprised to recognize the man as Uncle Jerome. It was Viscount Jerome Hippolyte. Sasha wondered what she knew about him. She remembered how the man had tried to entertain Estelle when she was in tears. Jerome asked the girl what was wrong. She said it was Miss Wendy. The maid explained that this was the name of the doll which His Grace had given to Lady Estelle. The girl said that she had already sent the maid to fetch the doll and it was about to be here. A few seconds later, the girl noted happily that there she was. Panting, the maid handed the girl her Miss Wendy. The man was surprised to recognize her as Sasha. The man put the doll in the girl's hands and instructed her to take good care of it if it was so important to her. Jerome was always kind to his niece and nephews and always took time to play with them. The man was a favorite relative of the Serpente family. Sasha had imagined Viscount Jerome Hippolyte to be like that. Benya confessed to his uncle that they were already getting worried and making up things for themselves here. The boy asked what this place was. Grabbing her uncle by the hem of his jacket, Estelle confessed that she was hungry and added that it was very stuffy here. The girl wanted to get out of here immediately. The man was silent for a while, and Sasha couldn't understand why he was looking at them so strangely. At last, Jerome smiled affectionately as he spoke. He replied that they would definitely get out of here, but suggested that everyone sit down first. Settling down at the table, Jerome noted that the children must have been surprised that their rooms had changed while they slept. Sasha found the phrase, "your rooms have changed," strange. Benya admitted that they were a little excited and asked if they were still at the manor. The uncle admitted that every noble family had such a secret room on the estate. Sasha hoped they wouldn't stay in that room. Suddenly, Jerome told the children that they would have to change their plans. Benya didn't understand what he meant by that. The man admitted that they had decided it was too risky to take them from here to the port of Valenzi. It was all about the situation in the capital of the empire. Neither Her Imperial Majesty nor their parents had ever spent time on the streets, but they all contracted the plague anyway. No one knows how people contract the plague. It is God's punishment. So they quickly moved the children here where they thought it would be safest. Young children like them tend to be more vulnerable to the plague. For centuries, this place had been closed and unused. Sasha realized that this wasn't God's punishment. It was all a setup. This mysterious plague would end as suddenly as it had begun. But of course, the fear and shock before it would last for a while. In other words, it would be the most sensible thing for Viscount Hippolyte to do. But somehow Sasha had a strange feeling about it. Benya asked if that meant they had to stay here from now on. The uncle confirmed that it did. Estelle immediately started whining that she didn't want to, but the man assured her that it wouldn't be for long. Clutching his head, Uncle Jerome admitted that they had no choice. He couldn't lose the children as well. The brothers were a little surprised at their uncle's behavior. Latias asked how long they would be here. Benya confessed that it annoyed him to sleep in the same room as his brother. Jerome assured him that a week at most, no longer. He added that it would be ideal for them to leave this country as soon as possible, but in the meantime, they needed to live here for a while. Latias asked if that meant that they would have to eat here too. Uncle Jerome assured them that they need not worry. The Chamberlain would bring them food and anything else they needed. The man admitted that it was time for him to go. He warned that the plague could be airborne, so he asked them not to even think about leaving the place. Benya noted that it was too dark and stuffy. Uncle Jerome asked them to be patient for a while. He added to Sasha that Estelle needed her, so as soon as the situation improved, the girl would go with her to Fzia. The man asked Sasha to take care of his niece as she always did. She immediately assured him that she would do as ordered. Uncle Jerome noted that the valet would bring them food soon and promised to meet next week. The man apologized to the young gentleman for the circumstances that had brought him into the service and introduced himself as Harris, the new valet. Letius was surprised at the new valet. He had not been warned about this. The man admitted that he had been on duty since today, and so could not have informed the gentleman earlier. Latias inquired what had happened to the valet Karen. Had he quit and not told him? Sometimes Sasha forgot that Latias was the firstborn in the Serpente family. Now she pondered who he was and what he would become. After his return from abroad, Latias had become a duke, and, together with Benier, had taken control of the underworld. As for Estelle, her fragile health had probably deteriorated rapidly during her time abroad. Sasha was surprised to hear that old man Karen had died. Harris told the young master that unfortunately Mr. Karen had been taken by the plague. He passed away this morning. Due to the gravity of all the circumstances, Harris will be the only servant visiting the place. The man admitted that he understood the concern of the young gentlemen and ladies, but he asked them not to leave the place under any circumstances. Unbeknownst to them, they might catch the plague. Sasha was ordered by the man to serve food according to the schedule. He brought breakfast, lunch, and dinner, from left to right. Sasha asked if this meant that the man would come here once a day. Harris noted that the girl was old enough to realize that he couldn't come here for every occasion. Any outsider coming in and out of this place was a great threat to the young lords and ladies. Harris was about to leave, but Sasha stopped him, wondering what they would do when they ran out of food. The man assured them that they didn't have to worry about it. He asked them to leave the trolley by the mirrored door, and he would pick it up while the children were asleep. And then the valet disappeared out the door. As she approached the mirror, Sasha realized that the door was closing from the outside. The girl began to worry about what would happen if Estelle got sick. When the Duke and Duchess passed away and Sasha realized that she couldn't change the plot of the novel, she began to fear for Estelle. Estelle was often ill. In the novel, this happened when she was abroad. The girl died there. Sasha decided that as soon as they left the tower for Fzia, she would protect Estelle as before. When Latias noticed the girl approaching the mirror, he became worried. He reminded Sasha that it was dangerous outside. Sasha wondered if the guy thought it was strange that they had locked them in here. The guy suggested that they were worried that they'd completely despair of grief and run away. Sasha admitted that made sense, but somehow the whole thing gave her a bad feeling. Sasha knew what was going to happen in the future, but she had no way of knowing everything in detail. She decided that she shouldn't panic when something unexpected happened. Sasha was just thinking about what she needed to do first when Estelle crashed into her, squeezing the girl in her arms. The girl admitted that she was hungry and asked Sasha if she wasn't hungry at all. The girl decided that she would take care of the children first. Having set out the dishes and prepared everything, Sasha offered everyone to eat. Benya noted that now Estelle would not be able to complain about the food. Letias pointed out that there was no point in complaining. You could just wait a few days. Benya added that he was actually referring to him. Letias was the one who whined all the time. Sasha didn't realize when they would finally grow up. Letias was shocked when he saw that there was no syrup for the pancakes. He decided that there was no such thing. Sasha noticed the syrup standing right next to the guy and asked him to pass it to her. Letias stammered, apologizing awkwardly. Letias assured that he would do it himself. Benya tried to stop his brother, but he wouldn't let him, asking him to show respect because he was doing it for everyone. Benya didn't understand why he should respect his brother. For making syrup all over the table? The boy feigned his greatest gratitude. Letias replied that his brother was no better himself. Pounding her fists loudly on the table, Estelle declared that she was hungry and ordered her brothers to stop fighting immediately. Letias wondered what this place was for. The fact that it hadn't been used for a long time only heightened his curiosity. He had never known the manor had such a place. Benya wondered if Letias knew anything about him. He was the heir, so he must know the estate inside and out. Letias assured him that he had not been told anything about this place, and that he still had much to learn as heir. That was what his father had told him. Everyone immediately fell awkwardly silent at this mention. Estelle sadly confessed that she missed her daddy, and her mom and Sylvia too. Sasha also missed her mom. The boys asked Sasha where Estelle was. She replied that the girl was trying to sleep. Letias noted that she must be very worried. Estelle usually couldn't sleep for a long time, not in her own bed. Benya replied that there was nothing that could be done about it. Sasha reported that Estelle had finally fallen asleep and wondered what they would do now. Benya suggested that they go on a reconnaissance trip. Benya recalled the place downstairs. There was a strange room there, like an office or a warehouse. He wondered what they could find there. Sasha noted that they would be leaving the place in a few days anyway, and didn't understand why they would go there. Benya noted that that was why they should explore it, because they wouldn't be here for a long time after they left. Sasha noted that it was so damp and dark, everything old and smelly. But now she was curious too. Sasha wondered what the place was for. It was too dilapidated for nobles, and too big for servants. That's why it's perfect as a hiding place. Letias assured them that he would also go with them, and suggested that they take candles with them, since it was pitch black. The boys agreed that it was a good idea. Taking a lantern each, the boys excitedly set off on their adventure. Benya remarked that the place was huge. Sasha thought it looked like a library. There were so many books and so much dust. Benya thought it was strange that they had a library in a place like this. Suddenly, Letias shouted, "Wow!" loudly, which scared Sasha. She immediately got angry and asked the boy to stop scaring her, but Letias only pointed his finger at the window that had surprised him so much. It was indeed a window, covered with curtains. Sasha assumed that they could see what was there. That way they could tell where they were. The boys did not understand how they could do it, as the window was very high up. Suddenly one of them noticed a ladder. Benya decided that the ladder looked very old and seemed unreliable. Sasha offered to look for a ladder for her friend. Letias doubted that there was another staircase. Benya didn't understand what they should do then. Letias suggested that Sasha try to climb, since she was the lightest of the three of them. He figured the ladder should be able to support the girl. The guy stared dumbly at the guy. He didn't understand what the problem was. Benya noted that he was acting so well-mannered, but in fact, Letias was quick to assure him that he didn't mean it. Letias explained that they could catch Sasha if she fell. If he fell, the two of them would just run away. Benya decided that if he was falling, his brother would just run away too. Letias assured him that of course he would. Why would he catch the guy? Benya pointed out that the boy was a shitty older brother, then in turn parried that the boy had never treated him as an older brother. Grabbing the boy's hands, Sasha ordered them to calm down immediately. Sasha wondered if they really had to go in there. They could get hurt. But the boys immediately said that of course they should. Benya assured that they should check around the place. Then they would realize what part of the estate they were in. Sasha suggested that perhaps they should ask His Grace the Viscount. Benya noted awkwardly that Sasha was probably right. The girl realized that they hadn't asked her uncle about it on purpose. Sasha wondered if they were afraid of what they might hear, or if they were afraid of not hearing an answer at all. She decided that she wasn't the only one here with a bad feeling. Sasha decided there was no point in stressing them further, and stepping onto the first step, promised herself she would do her best. Climbing up, Sasha was very surprised at what she saw and involuntarily recoiled. The guys immediately tensed up, afraid that the girl was about to fall, but only a part of the window frame flew off. Benya thought the girl had done it on purpose. Sasha apologized embarrassedly, noting that everything here was old and decrepit. After a few more moments, the girl was finally able to climb up and look out the window. There was nothing visible except the sky, but Sasha decided that it was better than nothing. The guys immediately started asking her what she saw and if she could tell where they were. Sasha wasn't sure about that. The guys had told her to take a good look around, but no matter how much she tried, she couldn't see anything. Surprised at what she saw, Sasha felt her leg go under. The girl couldn't hold on to the rickety stairs and flew down. The boys immediately started to catch her, and Sasha landed on Benya, knocking the boy to the ground. Latias immediately asked if the girl was all right, and admitted that he hadn't realized the ladder was so flimsy. Sasha noticed angrily that Latias had promised to catch her if she fell. She thought Benya must have hurt himself and asked him if he was alive. He grumpily asked her to get off him or he would run her over. Sasha was embarrassed that she had fallen on Benyu and asked if he was bruised. The boy pointed out that the girl was actually heavy. Sasha decided that she should have fallen on him harder for that. After helping the girl up, Latias asked if she was hurt and asked what she saw that made her turn around so abruptly. Sasha confessed that it was because she had seen the bell of the private chapel on the estate. Benya was surprised that they were in the bell tower and wondered where inside the bell tower such a place came from. Latias also thought it was very strange. Sasha wondered if none of the brothers knew about it. Benya pointed out that he would not have known about it. Latias also replied that he had never heard of it and had not thought that there could be something like that inside the bell tower. Latias noted that the bell had rung very loudly at noon then. Sasha hoped that it would not be very loud, otherwise Estelle would be frightened. Latias recognized that the girl was right. Estelle was indeed afraid of loud noises and heights. Sasha decided that this was indeed the safest place on the estate. Who would ever think of coming here? Most people would never think there was such a place on the bell tower. No one can hear them, even if they shout or make a fuss. A mirrored door is the only way out, and if you try to escape through a window, you can easily be crushed to death. In other words, it's the perfect hideout, but if someone tries to lock them in here permanently, it's the perfect place that no one has used in years. Noticing Sasha's worried expression, Benya asked what was wrong. What was wrong with her face? The girl tried to assure everyone that everything was fine and noted that since they had checked the window, she would go back upstairs. She'd better check on Estelle first. Sasha offered Estelle to brush her hair and asked how the girl had slept last night, if there was anything bothering her. Estelle replied that everything was fine, but she was stuffy. The girl confessed that she felt like opening a window, and it was also very loud here when the bell rings. Sasha remarked that she never thought she would ever wear Lady Serpente's dress. Just as she had thought, her clothes had not been brought here. Sasha told Estelle about it, and she said that the girl could just wear her clothes. In fact, the girl was unusually happy about it, as if she was dressing up a doll. And Sasha was worried that she might get upset about it. Sasha remembered how the Chamberlain had said she would bring them anything they needed, but for some reason Mr. Charisse had only come when they were asleep to leave them food. Neither the Chamberlain nor Viscount Jerome Hippolyte came again. So the week came to an end. Sasha noted that tomorrow would be a week already. She didn't understand why they hadn't visited them once. After tying the girl's bow, Sasha said that everything was ready and asked Estelle how she was doing. Sasha wondered what would have happened if something had happened to them during that week. The girl wanted to hope that she was worrying for nothing. After picking at her plate with her fork, Estelle admitted that she was sick of it. She wondered why they brought them the same food every day. Lunches and dinners were disgusting because they were served cold. Sasha noted that today would be the end of it, because tomorrow they would finally leave this place. Latias also wanted tomorrow to come soon. He asked who would do what the first thing they would do when they got out of here. Estelle remarked that she would eat all the cheese she could. Benya confessed that he wanted perch and veal stew, and offered to attack the chef as soon as they got out of here. The guys asked Sasha what she would like. After a little thought, the girl decided that she would like a cream cake. Latias, smiling, noted that he knew it. Latias remembered that he had given the girl all his desserts when they were little. Sasha admitted that her mother had scolded her when she found out. The boy noted that it was no joke at the time. Sasha's mom got really angry then. The girl said that she was so angry because she thought that it was Sasha who made guys ask for desserts for her. Benya remarked that it was no wonder why Sasha was so heavy. Sasha decided that she should have come down on him with all her might. Latias ordered his brother not to be so mean. Benya didn't realize what he had said. Latias noted that he had ruined everyone's mood again. The boy was offended that he couldn't say anything now. Benya noted that Latias always started first. He ordered his brother to back off with his moralizing, noting that he was pissing him off. Latias is not his father. Sasha hoped the guys weren't going to fight right there and ordered them to stop now. After all, they were scaring Estelle. The boys immediately fell silent. Benya sighed heavily, decided he would just get out of sight, and slammed the door loudly behind him. Latias called his brother a lad, noting that he knew he was at fault. Sasha noticed that the boy was concerned too, and asked him to calm down. They were not going to do any good fighting with each other, especially in Estelle's presence. Latias decided that this time he would let the brat slip away. He couldn't figure out when the brat was going to grow up. Sasha noticed that everyone was getting nervous. She thought that if it continued like this, there might be a big fight. But that wasn't surprising. They were young villains. But why had Benya become so sensitive? Waking up in the middle of the night, Sasha noted that, meanwhile, it was the end of the week. Today they would finally get out of here. Sasha couldn't sleep. Perhaps it was because she was very excited and wanted to leave this place as soon as possible. The girl was surprised to notice that the trolley was here. When Sasha lifted the lid of the tray, she noted that it was business as usual. But they were supposed to leave the place today. Why did they leave the children's food as usual? Sasha forced herself not to panic, deciding that maybe there was just a slight change of plans. The girl wondered why they left food out when they weren't around. Sasha decided that this was not normal. Suddenly, someone touched her shoulder, asking what she was doing here. The girl cried out loudly in surprise, jumping up on the spot. Benya didn't understand why the girl was so frightened and wondered what happened. Sasha decided that the guy had already cooled down after their quarrel yesterday. Sasha noted that the guy woke up early and even had time to wash his face. Benya wondered what the girl was doing here. Sasha admitted that she wondered if Mr. Harris or His Grace the Viscount had come. She meant that today was the day they were supposed to come. Benya pointed out that the trolley was here, however. Sasha decided that the guy thought she didn't trust his family. Benya recalled that they'd said they'd come today. He was sure that someone would definitely come later. He didn't see the point in waiting for them here. Sasha pointed out that they had left the food cart all day again, even though they have to leave the place today. Benya thought that perhaps they had decided to leave more food in case they stayed longer. Sasha noted that they were supposed to leave here today, but no one had ever explained anything to them. Not even the guys. Benya didn't understand what the girl wanted to say. Sasha thought about what if their relatives were plotting something against them. Sasha decided that the guy would definitely take offense if she asked him something like that. She didn't know how close she would be to Benya and Latias in the future, but they weren't that close now. Even though the girl looked the same, she was no longer the same Sasha from the novel. And if she could change the plot, their relationship could come to a premature end. Once they leave this place, even if she couldn't be exactly like Sasha, the girl must strengthen her authority to avoid the tragedy they would face. She had to stay with Serpente's children. Sasha kept thinking about what she should say to the guy. If she said something that would make him even more offended, then... Suddenly she felt Benya slap her forehead. The boy wondered what the girl was thinking about. He decided that Sasha didn't like the new valet and promised that when they got out of here, he would be sure to give him a lesson in manners. Sasha was relieved that Benya was in a good mood again. The boy admitted that he was hungry. The girl scolded him for running away yesterday without finishing his food. She didn't understand what he was even doing in the library. The boy hesitated for a moment, and then abruptly announced that he had something to show Sasha. The girl asked what it was. Grabbing Sasha's hand, Benya ordered her to follow him. The boy led her to the library. Sasha was surprised at what she saw. She wondered what Benya was doing with all those stairs. Benya confessed that he was testing which one was the strongest. Sasha was shocked. She didn't understand why the guy couldn't act like a young aristocrat. She noted that Benya could have hurt himself. He assured her that he hadn't, and that was the most important thing. Going upstairs and sitting on the window frame, Benya assured the girl that she should come up here too. Sasha thought he was crazy and ordered him to come back now. Benya pointed out, in which case the girl should climb up here herself and make him get down from here. Sasha decided that maybe she should just let the little twerp crash to death. This event would bring peace and stability to this world. Sasha didn't know if she had decided to change their fate or not, but the girl was still going up to Benya. Sasha decided that if the Duchess were alive, she would have slapped the rascal. She looked up to the window and noticed that Benya wasn't there. Sasha was afraid he had actually fallen, but when she leaned over the window frame, she saw the boy's smiling face and outstretched hand. Benya told the girl to hold his hand and come down here. Sasha wondered how she was supposed to get down there. What if she fell? Benya assured her that she wouldn't fall and she didn't have to worry. That didn't make Sasha feel any better. She carefully threw her legs over the window frame. Benya told her to hold on to his hand and climb down here, to the ledge. Sasha swore that if she died, she would turn into a ghost and haunt him. She closed her eyes and counted to 2 and jumped into the guy's arms. Grabbing the girl, Benya smiled, noting that she was doing well. As if it wasn't the first time she'd climbed such places. Sasha thought about punching him after all. Benya noted that it wasn't that scary. Sasha assured the boy that she wouldn't go up here a second time. She glanced at the halo of the sun, which was just beginning to peek out from the horizon, and wondered if that was what he wanted to show her. Benya reported that yesterday's sunset was much better. Sasha asked if he had been here all day yesterday. The guy assured me that he wasn't all over the place. He was just curious what it was like out there. Mostly he was thinking about something. Sasha asked what it was about. Benya answered evasively that it was about this and that, about his parents and so on. The girl asked if he was all right. After being silent for a few seconds, Benya admitted to Sasha that he was glad the girl was in one piece. Benya admitted that he couldn't imagine what would have happened to Estelle if Sasha hadn't been around. The boy pointed out that Estelle needed a girl much more than he and Latias did. In fact, if it weren't for Sasha, he and Latias would have fought a long time ago. Sasha noted that it was. In truth, there had never been any special affection between them. Latias and Estelle were quite close to each other, while Benya preferred to be alone. And Benya had never been as kind and affectionate as Latias, so what he had just said was very shocking to Sasha. Latias came in and asked what the two of them were doing there. Benya asked him how long he had been awake. Latias replied that he had just, and asked again what they were doing there. Benya replied that he was thinking about the priorities they should set in their family when they got out of that place. Unlike him, the heir. Latias assured him that he was thinking about it too. Benya had little faith in him and pointed out that his brother might as well just pass on his status as heir. Latias noted that he wasn't crazy to do such a thing, and added that Benya would destroy the family if he handed the title to him. The guy said he wasn't referring to himself and offered to give it to Sasha. Latias suggested that his dear brother should think about it, because Sasha could just chase them away and leave nothing behind. Benya noted that this was his opinion, but Latias assured him that he knew better. The children argued from time to time, but from what Sasha saw, they didn't look like villains, despite the fact that because of them, the girl had spent the whole week on pins and needles. Good thing they were leaving today. Sasha decided that she shouldn't take everything so personally. But even when it got dark, no one came to see them. Not the next day, not the day after, not 2 days later. Irritated, Estelle threw the handkerchief on the table and said she wanted to get out of here. She thought they'd be here for a week and didn't understand why they were still here. Estelle declared that they were all liars. Sasha asked her not to say that. The girl suggested eating first, because today was the last day anyway. Estelle stated that she didn't want to eat. The food is disgusting and makes the girl sick. She noted that Sasha says the same thing every time. The girl decided that this was already a problem. Latias ordered his sister to finish the meal. He surmised that the situation must have worsened for both their uncle and their relatives. He noted that Estelle was a lady of the Serpente family and should be able to wait patiently. It had been a fortnight. No one had come to see them, but they still kept leaving them food. Sasha decided that maybe they had something wrong. She suggested that she should not go to bed, but check it out. Sasha didn't finish the thought. The door opened and a man stepped inside. Estelle was glad to see Uncle Jerome. The man apologized and remarked that he should have come to them sooner. He was sure they were already aware that their plans had changed. Rolling her eyes, Sasha thought that of course they would. Latias asked what had happened. He assumed that someone had died again. Jerome told him that doctors from the capital had come to the manor. Benya realized that his uncle had not come here to take them away. Guy admitted that he didn't know how serious the situation outside was, but he noted that they couldn't stay here any longer. He reminded Uncle Germ about Estelle's poor health. Jerome reported that those who came to the funeral, the presiding bishop and their family, even the men who carried the bodies, all died of infection. He didn't understand how anyone could be so careless under such circumstances. Sasha did not understand how they could continue to live in such conditions. They had no servants or maids. The place was so small that there was hardly any privacy, let alone any space to run around in. They are so tired of eating the same food day after day, and the water in the bathroom is often so cold that it breaks their bones when they take a shower. In the library, there are only old books, which are difficult to read, and there are no games to pass the time. Sasha wondered how they were different from livestock in such conditions. Suddenly, Jerome noticed what clothes Sasha was wearing. The girl frightenedly answered his lordship that she had no other clothes. The man admitted that he hadn't thought of it. Jerome offered Estelle his deepest apologies and assured her that he would tell the chamberlain about it. Benya wondered what was wrong with the chamberlain. Why does he secretly come and go every time? He doesn't care at all about what's going on inside. Benya noted that they couldn't eat the same thing anymore. He had the feeling that they were like cattle in a stable. The guy asked them to give at least an acceptable reason for this. Jerome admitted that he didn't know when the situation in the capital would improve. Until the damned plague subsides, the man must do everything in his power to keep them safe. If he had to protect anyone, it was them. Sasha decided that in this situation they could not complain, but they couldn't take it anymore. Benya asked at least to tell them when they could leave here. Then they would try to bear it, no matter how long it took or what the situation outside was. The boy asked them to be honest and not to torture them. He pointed out that they would take great offense at their uncle if he continued to deceive them. Jerome admitted that it was a whole month. He knew he couldn't ask to stay longer than that. Even adults would find it hard to bear such a thing, not even children. The man asked to be patient for a month. He promised he'd send them to Fzai in a month, regardless of the situation in the capital. Jerome asked if they understood him. The children answered in unison that they did. Adjusting the bow around her neck, Sasha smiled contentedly. She felt more comfortable in her clothes. Estelle noted that she had fun dressing the girl in her clothes and asked her to do it at least sometimes. Sasha knew she would like it. Sasha smiled contentedly and showed Estelle to the stove they had brought them. Now the girl would be able to wash herself in warm water. The girl didn't understand what was the point of it, because she felt very bad here anyway. Sasha admitted that she was. Spending a whole month here with no games, in absolute idleness, was the worst. They didn't ask for much. They needed something to pass the time so they wouldn't go crazy in a month. They needed a room where they could run and play. And they also needed a window to keep track of time. Sasha wondered if there was one such place, but it was so dirty that they didn't think of playing there. There were beams and other rubbish lying on the floor. Decaying cobwebs hung in the corners, and the shelves were covered in a coarse layer of dust. No wonder why they never came down here. Benya asked Sasha what she was doing. The girl turned round to the guy, staring at him. He asked her why she was standing like a stumbling block. Sasha admitted that she had been thinking about rearranging the library. The girl noted that if it were cleaner, Estelle could play here, and it would at least dispel her a little. Benya admitted that the idea sounded just fine, but didn't see how they could get the place clean. Sasha was surprised at first. She had forgotten that Benya was a young aristocrat and the son of the Duke of Serpente, who had no idea what cleaning was. Latias came in and asked what they were doing here. Benya said that Sasha was proposing to clean the place up. The eldest heir also did not understand how they should do it. Latias pointed out that they couldn't have servants here, could they? Sasha reminded him that they already had one servant. The boys immediately thought that the girl had seen someone other than the chamberlain come in, but that was not what she meant. Sasha admitted that she meant herself and reminded them that she was actually a maid too. The guys were surprised that she was going to clean it all up herself. Sasha was sure that they would succeed if the boys helped her. They didn't have a choice anyway, because they would have to live here for a month. Sasha noted that they could play and have fun here. The girl suggested to start by wiping off all the dust. After a few hours of work, the room glowed as good as new. The children, however, collapsed exhaustedly on the floor. Benya confessed how tired he was. Latias agreed with him, but the important thing was that Estelle would be pleased. Estelle hesitantly walked into the room, looking for Sasha. The girl was surprised that she was already awake. Estelle asked what they were doing here, and Sasha answered honestly that they were cleaning. Letias asked his sister if she wanted to read a book. He remarked that it would be good to accumulate knowledge while they were here, and added that they had wiped them all clean. Benya noted dreamily that what was missing was a hammock. It would be nice to take a nap, especially by the window. Sasha warned him not to even think about climbing up there again, but the boy assured her that he wouldn't fall. Sasha noted that it was so spacious that they could even play hide and seek. Estelle smiled agreeably, agreeing with her. After they cleaned the library, their days were much more fun than before. It was where the children spent most of their time. Hide and seek and spot the only games they could play. These games were not at all appropriate for their age, but they didn't have much to do to pass the time in this stuffy place. As they say, regression is a defense mechanism. In the confined space, every day seemed like a week, so they had to try their best to remain cheerful in order to hide the ominous feeling that unconsciously arose in them. Their menu never changed. They left notes asking for a change of desserts, but all to no avail. The notes they left to communicate their needs were also ignored. This was how their never-ending hell was slowly coming to an end. Sasha was glad that the day had finally arrived. During her time here, she had learned how to wash blankets. Now the girl realized how many things she had learned here. Sasha decided to take life here as practice, which would come in handy after they got out of here. She was glad that she had learned a lot here. Only well-trained maids could wash lacy, jeweled dresses without ruining them, so now Sasha could confidently say that she was an experienced maid, and that would allow her to stay with them even when they left the place. Benya crept up from behind and asked the girl what she was doing, which frightened her. Sasha embarrassedly replied that she was doing laundry and cleaning. Benya didn't understand why she was doing that. Sasha explained, a little surprised, that it was because they were already dirty. The boy confessed that he didn't remember her ever doing anything like that. Sasha pointed out that it wasn't about whether or not she'd done anything around the house. She added that Benya didn't like it when the house was dirty either. Grabbing the girl by the shoulders, Benya wondered why she was doing this. They were leaving soon after all. He pointed out that if Sasha wanted to be a good maid, she should just keep doing what she had always done. Benya noted that all the girl did was play with them, both here and outside. Sasha sadly admitted that she only wanted to help. Benya was immediately frightened by the girl's reaction. He assured her that he didn't mean it at all and, stroking Sasha's cheek, asked her not to cry. The girl didn't understand why the jerk had said such a thing. Suddenly Benya apologized, admitting that he had been wrong. Sasha was very surprised by that. The guy felt really bad for snapping at Sasha and offering to help the girl. Sasha was so taken aback that her tears flowed back. She couldn't believe Benya had apologized. She'd never seen a guy like that before. Benya asked what to do about it, and Sasha informed him to wipe the jewel gently with a napkin so as not to scratch it. Benya remarked how tedious it all was, but Sasha praised him, saying that he was doing great. The guy confessed that in this place he does everything he has never done before. Sasha admitted that they did, and added that no one would believe the guy if he told the story to anyone. Benya wasn't sure he'd tell it to anyone at all, or that they'd even be able to get out of here. Sasha wondered what had caused Benya to get so angry with her today. What had happened? The boy pointed out that she already knew. Someone may or may not walk through the mirrored door now, maybe tonight or tomorrow or even a month from now. Sasha decided that Benya thought his relatives were doing it on purpose. When she looked at the boy, she realized that he had already guessed everything. Letias noted that it was noon, but no one was coming to pick them up. He thought that perhaps they were just being played. Benya replied that only his brother would think of doing such pranks. He added that it wasn't fun or new, and they should be flogged for it. Letias was shocked. He inquired if his brother respected him even a little. Benya replied by asking if there was anything to respect him for. Letias noted that he was ready to forgive Sasha if she confessed. The girl didn't realize to what. The guy still thought that it was part of an elaborate prank that the girl had probably thought up. Benya decided that this would be a really interesting turn of events if it were true. Sasha thought they were crazy and didn't realize what books they had read. Grabbing Sasha by the sleeve, Estelle decided that suddenly she was like an evil witch from a fairy tale. She believed the girl was not a witch. Stroking Estelle's head, Sasha sang her a lullaby. Lavender grows, lavender blooms. If you become king, I'll be your queen. and the birds will sing and the sheep will dance. Sasha noted that Estelle never sleeps when she reads to her, but with her mom's lullaby, she falls asleep immediately. Estelle had trouble sleeping because of the stress, so Sasha made her this ugly doll out of her old nightie. It's Miss Wendy, a doll that Estelle can't live without. She liked the doll immediately, but Estelle is not really old enough to play with dolls. She's 12 now. With each day they lived here, Sasha felt them regressing mentally, but there was nothing she could do about it. They had been here for a month and 3 weeks now. If Sasha remembered correctly, the plague rate should have dropped by now, so there was no reason for them to be here anymore. But there was still no news. It could only mean that the relatives of the children who had locked them in this giant tower had no plans to let them out. The trays of food that were left for them were always replaced with new ones while they slept, so the servants were also aware of what was going on. And if the children decided to get out because of fear or anger because they had been betrayed, they could be left with no food at all. It was horrible. To think that the years that the Serpente family's children supposedly spent abroad, as described in the novel, were actually spent in confinement in their own home. There could be only one reason for this. Self-serving relatives must be trying to eliminate the young heir and his brother and sister in order to take possession of the entire Serpente family fortune. In addition, they could easily fabricate all of this using dead people who looked like children. In fact, the Great Plague gave them the perfect opportunity to do so. But Sasha didn't understand why they hadn't killed them yet, probably because the sudden death of all the heirs would have aroused the suspicions of Python Bank and the Emperor. Jerome said he wanted to protect them from the plague, so he could easily continue lying to everyone. Even if they get out of here and attack him, he can easily justify himself by saying it was all for their own good. Latias asked Sasha if Estelle had fallen asleep. The girl admitted that she had sung her mother's lullaby to her, and the girl had fallen asleep immediately. Benya asked if the girl could sing a lullaby for him one of these days. He confessed that he had not been sleeping well lately. Sasha wondered if Benya was too old for lullabies. The boy remarked that age was just a number, nothing more, and asked if the girl wanted to play chess with him. Benya promised that if Sasha won, he would socialize with her as if she were older and stronger than him. The girl had little faith in that. The girl agreed, but noted that if Estelle woke up, she would go upstairs. Benya agreed. After a while, Sasha noted that it was time to change the candle. The guy asked why it was there. Sasha admitted that she wondered what they would do when they ran out of candles. There was still plenty of them, but Sasha thought they could use lamp oil since they also had a cooker. Benya noted that winter would soon be here. He asked the girl to make him a duvet when winter came, like the funny deer doll she had made for Estelle. Sasha pointed out that it wasn't a deer and reminded him that she'd already told the guy it was a rabbit. She added that she had nowhere to get down or wool. Benya agreed that they had no sheep or birds to clip. But Benya assured that the girl could take it easy. They had plenty more things to burn when the candles ran out. Sasha didn't quite understand what he meant, and the guy informed that he meant books. Sasha considered this a great relief. She decided that they could choose books to burn in advance and wondered if they would have enough for the spring. Sasha noted that this way they could heat water for Estelle. Suddenly, Latias slammed the book down, ordering the girl to stop this nonsense, especially her. Latias admitted that the girl got on his nerves every time she started wailing. Sasha admitted that she was only trying to prepare for the worst, just in case. Latias ordered her to stop worrying about things that hadn't happened yet. Sasha was surprised that Latias seriously thought they didn't have to worry about that, since they had been here so long. But the boy repeated irritably again that enough was enough. Latias reminded her that he was not Sasha's brother, and she was not his sister, but only a servant, and therefore she must not overstep her bounds. The guy ordered her to get out of here. Benya calmly pointed out that perhaps it was Latias who needed to get out of here, as he was getting tired of his brother's whims. The boy asked Benya to repeat what he had just said. Benya asked him to correct him if he was wrong, but Latias was the only one among them who was always ruining everyone's mood. He decided that his brother needed to calm down and not take his anger out on the girl. Latias angrily grabbed his brother by the scruff of the neck, calling him a little brat. Sasha immediately asked the young men to calm down and not to swear. Turning to the two of them, Sasha wondered why they were always fighting. Grabbing the doorknob, they informed her that she would leave if that was what they wanted. As she walked down the stairs, feeling hot tears running down her cheeks, Sasha admitted that she had never thought that Latias could say such a thing. She knew her place and realized that they were from different social classes. Even though they'd grown up playing together, Sasha had always felt like she was respecting their boundaries. Had she crossed the line all this time and forgotten that she was just a servant to them? Just like Sasha in the novel. But she was only concerned about them. Grinning, Estelle admitted that she was cold and asked to wash up later. Sasha said that it would be even colder in the evening and added that she had heated the water, so the girl would warm up now. Estelle offered to wash tomorrow, no one would notice, but Sasha said no. She didn't understand what the girl was saying. She would notice, and so would her brothers. Sasha noted that if they started lazing around here, it would quickly become a habit. The bath was good not only for Estelle's health and mental balance, but also for maintaining her status. She is the daughter of a duke and must live up to her position. The conditions here might be strict or even Spartan, but as soon as the children start to be lazy, they would go straight down the slope. So Sasha told the girl to take a quick bath. Estelle reluctantly agreed. Latias was sitting on the bed mumbling to himself. Sasha knocked on the door and asked if she could come in. Sasha reported that she had warmed up some bath water. She also tried heating the food today. It should taste better that way. Latias asked if they should eat. Sasha did not understand what he meant. Latias pointed out that tomorrow and next week would be the same food, and they should eat it as if they were captive pigs. Benya admitted that he hadn't seen Sasha enter. He asked if the girl had heated the bathroom and said that he felt much better today. Sasha wished the boy a good morning. Benya suggested that Latias should go to breakfast. The girl recognized that he was right and asked the guy to come down for breakfast. Sasha noted that since that day their communication had not been good. After that conversation, Latias had been gloomy, but surprisingly, Benya was not affected. The guy asked Sasha to write that they needed more oil for the lamps. Sasha replied that, of course. She noted that Christmas was coming soon, and she would write to send more. Estelle interrupted the girl, saying that she didn't want to celebrate Christmas here. They asked Sasha what if people forgot about them. Putting his fork aside, Latias wondered who had told her that, who had said they would be here until Christmas. He decided it was Sasha again. Sasha decided it would be better if she changed the subject. She suggested discussing it after the meal, since Estelle was still. Latias didn't let her finish, accusing her of being her again. Latias noted that he hadn't finished last time, but he wanted to be clear. He ordered the girl to stop whispering nonsense to his sister. Sasha didn't believe that the guy was serious. Estelle tried to assure her brother that Sasha had never said anything like that to her. She said that the girl told her fairy tales and only when she asked her to. Latias thought she was referring to those fairy tales where the prince and princess live happily ever after. He said that Estelle was too old for that. She was also carrying that doll around like a little girl. Latias wondered if Estelle would continue to hide under her maid's skirt, even after they left for Fzea. And she called herself the daughter of the Duke of Serpente? Latias told Estelle that she was a disgrace to the family, and added that she would be an outcast in high society. Sasha was shocked by his words. Angrily throwing his fork away, drawing attention to himself, Benya declared that he had had enough of this and ordered his brother to stop it all immediately. Latias didn't understand what was wrong with the guy, why he was protecting the girl again. Benya didn't see it as a problem, but his brother thought that the guy had fallen in love with Sasha. A beautiful young gentleman who fell in love with a servant girl. Latias suggested that his brother ask the girl to sing him a lullaby again, like Estelle. He thought Benya was just like Romeo. Benya couldn't take it anymore, punching his brother in the face with all his might. The boy's legs gave out in surprise, and he fell to the ground. A red mark was visible on his cheek. The frightened girls did not realize what was happening. Sasha asked Benyu to stop, but he didn't listen, grabbing her brother by the scruff of the neck again and starting to strike again. Latias, recovering a little from the surprise, kicked his brother in the face with all his might, throwing him off him. Benya's nose bled immediately. Latias wondered if he had forgotten his place. Latias admitted that he let him get away with it because he was his little brother, but he didn't understand how the guy dared to raise his hand against him. Latias swung his foot at his brother, who was lying on the ground. Sasha, coming to her senses, rushed to defend Benya when the boy's foot struck her in the stomach. Estelle covered her mouth fearfully to keep from screaming. Sasha bent in half in pain. The fight stopped immediately. Estelle ran up to the girl, wondering if she was okay. Benya also jumped up to Sasha. Letias tried to assure her that he didn't mean to. Estelle was angry. She thought her brother had lost his mind and didn't understand why he had done it. How could he even hit Sasha? What had she done? Letias only managed to stammer an apology. He was also shocked by what had happened. Estelle admitted that neither of them could do for her what Sasha was doing, and so she didn't understand why Letias was always whining. She declared that she didn't like it here either. Estelle said she wanted to get out of here too. She didn't like it here either, but she was holding back. Tears were streaming down her cheeks. The girl was afraid she would stay here until she was wrinkled and old. Or maybe they would only be let out after they went mad. She declared that she too was trying with all her might to keep her emotions in check. Estelle declared in her heart that she hated Letias even more than she hated Uncle Jerome. The boy only managed to stiffen in surprise at the phrase. Sasha leaned on a shelf of books and noted that her stomach felt numb. Letias peeked into the room, asking the girl how she was. He looked like a naughty puppy to Sasha. Sasha remarked that she didn't think the guy could do anything to help her, even if she said she felt bad. Letias tried to assure the girl that he was really sorry. Sasha told him to stop. Either way, it was her own fault for getting in front of the blow. Besides, Sasha noticed that it didn't hurt that much. Letias admitted that he hadn't meant what he'd said. The guy admitted that the fact that they knew nothing about when they would be released, and the fact that they might have been imparted was too hard to accept. He couldn't understand anything, so he apparently took his anger out on the girl. The guy felt sorry for that. Sasha couldn't blame these guys. Sighing heavily, she admitted that she knew Letias didn't mean it. Sasha asked Letias if someone was deliberately keeping them locked up here, who he thought it might be. Letias had no idea because everyone was so nice to them, but he thought Uncle Jerome was the most suspicious of them all. Letias just remembered that the night before they had been brought here, he had signed some papers to send them to Physea to study and a power of attorney to temporarily transfer the family's activities. He had also given the ring with the bank seal to his uncles. It was clear that they had complied with all the procedural norms, and now they did not care about the children, because the power was already in their hands. However, it was only possible to hide it by studying abroad as an excuse, which means they can't manipulate the Python Bank beyond what they are allowed to do. Physea and Xerxesia are not far from each other, and many nobles travel back and forth frequently. People will notice the Serpente family's absence from Zia, but they could have sent fake children to Physea. Letias asked the girl what if Estelle was right. What if they stayed in that tower until they were old and dead? If they were to live like that, he would prefer. Sasha forbade him to think about such things. He was the heir, after all. Sasha wondered who would then lead the Serpente families if not him. Letias wasn't sure he still deserved it. Every day he felt less and less sure of it. Sasha had no doubt that he would succeed. She reminded Letias that there were gypsies in her mother's family and that they could see the future. She noted that Letias would surely be a great heir, so she asked him to get ready. Afterwards, Letias apologized to Estelle and Benya. Then he apologized again to Sasha. After this incident, their lives changed a little. They no longer discussed the topic when they would leave here. Almost as if they had all agreed not to bring it up again, and it ended up making a big difference in their lives. Sasha walked into the room, catching the guys in a duel. The girl wondered what the two of them were doing. Letias was surprised that their dear little sister had decided to keep them company. The boy pointed out that this was fencing training, by the way. She recalled that the girl had said that they had to improve despite being locked in here, so they had decided to train on their own. Benya thought that was very wise and pointed out that she was no match for them, who were always complaining about everything. Letias supported his brother, saying that, of course, without a doubt. Sasha realized that this was another morass. The girl admitted that she didn't mean that at all. She didn't talk about fencing or physical training, but meant something more intellectual. Though, of course, Sasha was glad that they weren't fighting anymore. Estelle wondered what the girl had said to them. Letias noted that their sister also had to work on something to become a better person. Sasha wondered if she was better at what. Letias reminded her that Estelle was an aristocrat from the Serpente family, and therefore she needed to be able to dance in the royal court. Estelle stated that she could not dance without music. Letias noted that his sister never had the opportunity to dance properly because she was constantly sick. In addition, choreographers do not always have music playing. Grabbing his little sister in his arms, Letias ordered her to go and dress accordingly. The girl immediately started whining that she didn't want to. A while later, Estelle was dancing with Lydias while Benya clapped the beat. Sasha watched in silence. Lydias remarked that Estelle had been reluctant for nothing because she was doing a great job. The girl admitted that she almost lost her rhythm and asked her brother not to distract her. Finally, the boy reported that they were over. Estelle, out of breath, said that Lydias had driven too fast. He, in turn, said that it was the right pace. In fact, Estelle was the only one who was tired. Lydias noted that his sister should dance with Benya now, but Estelle declared that she was tired. The guy then admitted that he didn't like how it had turned out either, but he'd asked his brother to dance with him. He noted that he really wouldn't be happy about it. Benya declared that his brother was crazy and he would not dance with him. The guy decided that wasn't the way to go. They needed an even number of partners and called Sasha to him. Sasha stated that she didn't know anything about dancing. Benya pointed out that this was her chance to learn and promised that they would teach her. Sasha didn't understand why she wanted to learn, but Estelle with a cheerful smile asked the girl to join them. Lydias noted that they needed the girl for an even number of partners, and Estelle offered to dress Sasha in her dress. The girl decided that Estelle was only interested in dressing her like a doll. The boy ordered Benya to change her clothes too. When Sasha changed her outfit, she made sure that, as she thought, she would feel awkward. The guy said it looked very nice on her. Benya held out his hand to the girl, suggesting that she start. Putting her palm into his, Sasha reluctantly agreed. The guy immediately pressed her sharply against him, telling her to relax and let the music flow through her body. Benya suggested that the girl imagine that they were in a dance hall, and there was music playing. Sasha admitted that it would be difficult for her to imagine such a thing. Benya stated that it was only because it was her first time. He told the girl to relax her hands and look him in the eyes. He noted that they say to look into each other's eyes while dancing. For Sasha, this was the hardest part. She couldn't believe the guy had just told her to look him in the eye. Surely this was the Benya she knew. Looking at the guy, the girl was convinced that yes, it was him. Lydias remarked that the girl wasn't too bad for her first time, and pointed out to his sister how worried she was. The boy told Sasha that she could practice as much as she wanted, and allowed her to step on Benya's feet as much as she wanted. The girl noted that this is how Sasha learnt to dance in the novel. Despite her ignorant origin, Sasha always appeared at balls together with the Serpente brothers. By doing so, she was overshadowing the whole of high society. Apparently, many noblemen did not like it and gnashed their teeth contemptuously. But to kick Sasha out of the ball was to declare war on the Serpenta family. In other words, that was the power that Sasha had. A few months later, winter came. In time, they got used to living in the tower. But they still had episodes of despair and point at everything that was happening. Lydias slammed his fists on the table in frustration. He noted that he had borrowed only 50,000 GL and did not understand why he had to pay back 300,000 with interest. Benia noted that he had helped his brother when he went bankrupt and expected him to be grateful. Estelle noted that her brother was behaving unkindly towards them. Lydias realized that he'd been tricked. Sasha noted that the children had invented a new game. They were playing evil loan sharks. On the other hand, Sasha remembered that their family took their position thanks to high-interest loans. Suddenly, Estelle sneezed, and the girl was afraid that she was cold. The girl admitted to Sasha that she was cold. The girl decided to wrap Estelle, which made a satisfied smile appear on the latter's face. The girl confessed that Sasha was so warm. The boys also admitted that it was cold. Lydias offered to play one more game of fencing, for he was already stiff. Benya replied that that was enough for today. They practiced all day. Lydias was tired and was about to faint. Sasha noted that they didn't have many things to keep warm, so she thought it would be better for them to move around more to keep warm. They had only one stove and could not burn books as Benya suggested. They were afraid of starting a fire. They tried not to wash often because the laundry would freeze and not dry, and a bathhouse became a luxury they couldn't afford because they had to save yardage. But it was Estelle who worried Sasha the most. Hygiene was important, but catching a cold was much worse. Lydias said that they had no choice and threw himself on top of his brother and started hugging him. Sasha didn't understand what was happening. Cuddled up close to Benya, Lydias declared how warm his brother was. The boy thought Lydias was crazy and ordered him to get away from him. Benya told his brother to back off, stating that he was disgusted. Lydias confessed that he wasn't really keen on the idea either. Benya declared that he would rather freeze to death than hug the boy. Letias asked Estelle if she had heard what her brother had said. The girl told Letias to get away from her, for her brother stank. Letias was shocked to see that he stank. He pretended to be offended, but a moment later he scooped all three of them up, saying he wasn't going to give up so easily. Sasha didn't understand what she was in for, but she noted that at least when they hugged, it wasn't as cold. Benya and Estelle immediately started pulling out and begging to be let go. Sasha decided this was some kind of madhouse. By chance, Sasha noted that Benya's hands were so cold. He noted that the girl's hands were like ice. Estelle kept asking her brother to get away from her. Benya grabbed the girl's hand. Sasha was embarrassed, but noted that at least she felt warmer. Suddenly the door opened and a man appeared in the doorway. He didn't understand what was going on here. Sasha thought she was dreaming, but then she realized that she was awake and it was really Jerome. The man froze in the doorway. He was afraid to wake the children. Sasha thought about how many months it had been since she had last seen him. It was the first time they had decided to sleep together. Why had he decided to come now? Sasha decided that it was her own fault. She should have sent them to their rooms to sleep, and she hadn't put out the fire in the cooker. They could have been hurt. The girl smelled the smell of burning. Sasha thought Jerome wouldn't come until after winter, because he hadn't shown up for so many months, but she was surprised by the man's reaction when he entered. She thought Jerome was shocked to see his nephews asleep with a commoner. Sasha decided that perhaps Jerome was still attached to the children. She hoped that the shock of what he had seen would make the man want to release the children. Jerome demanded that Sasha explain to him what was going on here and what it all meant. The girl kept thinking about how to convince the man to release the children. Jerome noted that the girl was taciturn. He assumed that Sasha realized what a big mistake she had made. The Viscount noted how wrong he was about the girl. Jerome thought that Sasha and her mother understood that you can't cross the line, no matter how well they treat them. But he was wrong. The man didn't understand what the girl was just thinking, how she even dared to sleep with his nephews. He decided that it had been Sasha's plan all along. Sasha didn't understand how the man dared accuse her of anything. After all, he was the one who had locked them in here without telling them anything. The man pointed out that the only reason he had sent the girl here with them was for Estelle's sake. Vicon decided that the girl was just like her mother. He noted that just because his brother and his wife showed favor to Sasha's mother didn't mean that she could do whatever she wanted with his nephews. Sasha tearfully admitted to his lordship that it was a misunderstanding. She pointed out that, as he could see for himself, it got very cold here at night, and they couldn't let Estelle catch cold. Sasha admitted that she knew she shouldn't have, but it was all she could do. The girl also admitted that it was only by my lord's grace that she could serve someone like Lady Estelle at all. Sasha noted that the man still worried about the dignity of the children, which meant he cared about them. They were still too young. The only thing they could do was to placate him while they waited for their chance. Sasha admitted that she was uneducated. The only thing she knows how to do on cold days is to stoke the cooker. Bowing her head obediently, she admitted that she knew nothing else. Sasha confessed that the young gentleman and Lady Estelle had been very kind to her. They had lent the girl these warm clothes, and she hardly deserved to wear them. Sasha was unable to confront who was really to blame. Sasha asked how long the young gentleman and Lady Estelle would stay here. The girl noted that the man came every time only to deceive them, and then ran away with his tail between his legs, so he had no right to insult her mother. Jerome admitted that he knew it must be hard for them here, but in spite of all the difficulties, they still take care of their maid. Sasha thought he had come to play.